Hello and welcome to my video on the 5 top tips for overcoming social anxiety. Now, last weekend in Manchester in the UK, 150,000 people turned up for the town pride celebrations. Somehow, in the middle of all that really loud noise from sound system after sound system next to each other, with all the people shouting and screaming and partying and drinking and jostling each other, people still seem to meet new people and make friends and have conversations. And for those people who find that really difficult, it can be utterly baffling how that can happen. A less extreme but possibly more important example of this would be if you have to go to conferences as for your work, and you have to network and meet new people, or maybe meet new clients or keep existing clients happy. How do you do that? How do you work the room when you're feeling a bit shy and nervous? What I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk through my 5 ways that I found from my coaching and hypnotherapy practices that have really worked with people in order to overcome their social anxiety. So without further ado, here are my 5 top tips for overcoming social anxiety. Number 1, stop labeling yourself. Now, you know that you have a load of labels that you use all the time. They're the excuses that you tell yourself because that say, I cannot do this. They might sound like, I'm shy, I'm socially awkward, I'm not confident, I'm introverted. All of those things that we use as massive labels are just ways of keeping the world away from us. And what they do is they say to us, they shout at us, in fact, you can't do that. They tell you that you can't go into a room and meet new people, that you find it difficult to talk to new people. Now, here's a little thing that people don't know about me. I'm actually introverted. I class myself as an extroverted introvert. Now, what that means is that I can go into a room, and I actually love being the center of attention, in case anyone hadn't noticed by now. However, after being in a social situation, I'm absolutely drained of energy. After Pride at the weekend, I had to go and sit in a darkened room, almost literally for a whole day. It also used to work in my old job, where I'd go to new cities or new towns, often in new countries, talk to new people, new clients, new colleagues. And I was able to do that and then give presentations on stage, and I was very happy to do so. But then I'd need to take a couple of days off afterwards just to regroup. So the introversion doesn't mean that you're shy. Introversion means that you have to get energy back after being in a social situation, because by going to a social situation gives energy out. So that's sort of something about yourself, but you're not shy. You just don't know how to be confident yet. You're not socially awkward. You just haven't practiced enough, and you've told yourself these things. So stop labeling yourself, or if you do label yourself, put those, I'm naturally shy, but I'm going to learn to be confident. I'm introverted, but I can learn to be extroverted, or I can learn to be outgoing and then recognize my own need for some quiet afterwards. Number 2, stop noticing those people who seem to be able to cope better. It's so easy to spot them when you're standing there and there's people who are able to work the room. They're going between everyone. They're the social butterflies, the networkers. They're the people who don't seem to get stuck next to the water cooler or the toilet, talking to the most boring person. You can't get away. You can't speak to the people that you want to. You can't work your way into groups. You feel that, and you're seeing them and thinking they're doing it so easily. First of all, they probably aren't. There are very, very few people who do this without any thought at all and without giving any of themselves to it. But even if they are, you're not noticing the majority. The majority of people in that room are feeling exactly the same as you, to varying levels of comfort, but other people are feeling just as shy as you are. And this is the thing, that we always notice the people that we want to be, not the people we already are. Look around and spot the people who are like you. Now, one thing you can do if you want to notice those people is see it as a research exercise. So watch them and learn from them. How do they get away? How do they move on to the next person? How do they spot someone at the other end of the room, make eye contact and get together with that person that they want to talk to, avoiding all the people they don't want to talk to on the way to those people? So watch them. And it's actually quite useful, especially if you were talking about going to bars or something that you don't actually have an outcome that you have, to go out not knowing that, not saying to yourself, I'm shy or socially awkward, saying to yourself, I'm on a research mission. I'm not going to meet anyone. I'm just going to watch. I'm going to see what people do and learn from that. So that's the one time you can learn from other people. Number 3, stop mind reading. You're absolutely terrible at it. I'm sorry. You think that you know what everyone else is thinking about you. And we all do this. We look at the person who gave us a funny look and we think, oh God, they hate me. They can't stand me. They don't want me near. What that person is possibly thinking is, where have I seen them before? Or maybe they're thinking, did I turn the oven off? Or maybe they're thinking, what have I got on tomorrow? You don't know. They may not be thinking about you at all. My partner at Pride, we were in a social situation. I'd wandered off, was talking to someone. He was left on his own. So he told me. He told me he was left on his own for at least 5 minutes. Now, it was probably about 1 minute. And then he told me that everyone thought he was a complete idiot for standing there on his own. Now, here's the clue about this one. No one's thinking about you. If people are talking to each other, they're not looking around looking for the lonely people on their own because they're talking to the person they're talking to. There's a famous quote that says, we would worry less about what people think about us if we think about how seldom they do think about us. So stop thinking about them. They're not thinking about you at all. Just move on with your life. Number 4, play a part. Now, most coaches ask you to be more authentic. I'm trying to ask you to be less authentic at the beginning. Now, let me explain. So, when I was working for this company abroad, I was a regional director for Southeast Asia. Now, when I went into a conference in China or Indonesia or Malaysia or the Middle East, they didn't want to see Matthew. They wanted to see the regional director of Southeast Asia. And literally, that's what I used to do. I used to stand differently. I used to act differently. I used to play the part of the regional director of Southeast Asia of the company I was working for. And by playing the part, what I started doing was honing those muscles in my brain, or those neurons in my brain, those pathways that allowed me to be the regional director of Southeast Asia. He worked a room in a certain way. He talked to the people he wanted to talk to as his job required him to do. Now, when that makes absolute sense in a job situation, but what about in a social situation where you're trying to make new friends, or you're just trying to talk to people in a pub or a bar? Same thing can happen. I've had clients who've come to me and developed, for example, the dom top version of themselves, the person who's looking for love, whatever it is that they want to develop. And that part of them, they think about, okay, how would I stand at the bar in order to show I'm friendly and willing for people to come and talk to me, but also not ready to put up with nonsense? How can I move people away if I'm not happy with them being near me? How can I approach people if they seem to be interested in me, but they're on the other side of the bar? And we develop the character that they want to be. And the key is you develop the character, you act like that character, and then your brain starts going, oh, you know what? I quite like being this character. I'm going to keep playing this character. I was incredibly socially awkward when I was younger. Really, really socially awkward. I thought that I had to have huge amounts of alcohol to talk to anyone. Now, I've honed those skills in me by trying to be what I want to be, and now I can. and it's amazing in that it becomes more and more and more natural. And those people that you saw in the previous, when we were talking earlier, who can work the room, they've tried it too, and they've got there. You can as well. Number 5, consider professional support. Now, I work with clients in 3 major ways. I'm a coach, I'm a hypnotherapist, and I also do EMDR. Those 3 ways those 3 methodologies are good for different ways of helping different types of people with different problems or challenges. So, EMDR is for the people with the really deep traumatic problems. So, for example, they may be the people who had a traumatic experience at school where they were all laughed at for being in a situation, or they made a complete mess of a social situation and they just think, I could never go back in again. And EMDR is really good at breaking that trauma and really working on the person and helping them get through it. Hypnotherapy is for people who have social anxiety, but it's not quite so, it's not traumatic. So they're the people who think or feel that they're introverted, that they're too small, they're too shy, and they try to be something else. And hypnotherapy has lots of different methods within hypnotherapy of helping you move through that, whether it's about future planning or ego strengthening, or sometimes looking back in the past and trying to solve some of the futures. Or sometimes it's talking about the inner child within you who is shy and nervous, and you need to calm them down when you go into a social situation. And then coaching. Coaching is really good for people who are generally okay, but need to get to the next level, especially, for example, if you were starting a new role where you were doing more presentations, or you were doing more networking, or you were becoming a leader in an organization or a manager, and you had to be above more people, and you had to just grow that little bit in your confidence and your personality. And coaching can do that really well, and that's done out of trance, whereas hypnotherapy is done in trance. Coaching is done fully awake and in a conversation where I work out with my clients where they want to go and how they can get there. So 5 top tips for overcoming social anxiety. But you know what? My hidden 6th tip is don't worry about it, because everyone's feeling the same. Everyone in a room has some sense of social anxiety, even the most confident ones. And generally, in actual fact, the ones who are most loud are probably the most scared inside, and they've put on this massive coat of extroversion to cover up what they feel inside. So don't worry about it, but you can work through it. And the point is that if you do, then you'll make new friends, you'll make new acquaintances, you'll make new lovers, or you'll make more sales, you'll make your customers happier. Whatever it is, whether you're talking about your social life or your business life, overcoming it with a few little tweaks and possibly some extra help will make a huge difference to your life. So I wish you the best of luck. I hope to speak to some of you if you would like some coaching, hypnotherapy or EMDR, and have a great time. And maybe I'll see you one day at Pride or some other social situation, and you'll come up to me and say, you know what? I wouldn't be here unless I'd heard your 5 top tips. That will be the day. See you soon. Thank you very much and have a great one.